Today, you'll learn how to sell without sleaze and exactly how to win deals when budgets are tight. We're going to cover discovery that earns trust, proposals, and that converts, and what to do this quarter when buyers say, not now. Stay for the end, and we're going to learn also 5 moves that you can use this week. And if it helps, follow The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi on Apple, Spotify, and subscribe on YouTube. Stacey Chillemi Advisor, and it helps for more builders to find real sale tools. We also added a business site on our YouTube channel, so you'll find Stacey Chillemi business, and you'll that's where you're going to be able to find Ryan. So make sure you go there. All righty. So my guest today is Ryan Dohrn. He is an amazing award winner sales strategist who helps teams increase revenue without burning relationships. And he's also very big on spiritual belief and how to incorporate that in your business and how that actually can help with your sales. So Ryan, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you
I
on. You
am
are
so excited. I am so excited as well. My wife is like, "What are you so excited about this morning? Why are you closing all the doors? Why are you turning down the TV? What is going on?" I said, "Put the dog outside. I've got to get on with Stacy." And she's like, Tell me more. Who is she? Who is she?" And I told her more. And we pulled it up on YouTube. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great." And so I'm just thrilled because I love talking sales. And I love helping salespeople, but I really feel like I was put on this earth to be helpful to people. And so I just
Yeah.
love the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much for giving me the chance to talk to all your people. It's awesome.
Oh, you're so welcome. I am the same way. It's like, I feel like, I have been led in a direction to help people. And it feels so good when you
Mhm.
can change someone's life. And that's what we're going to do today because we are going to change people's lives because you are an amazing individual. I was
Oh,
looking at
thanks.
all your stuff and doing my research on you, and I am excited.
Thanks.
Now, the first question I wanted to ask, like, I get this a lot from people. They say, the future of sales is high integrity. What does that look like in the first 5 minutes of a call or maybe like a Zoom? Because that's really big.
Sure. So it's so unbelievably important, especially when we're selling to younger buyers, which I don't, I'm not going to be making any guesses here. I'm just getting to a point now where I feel like everybody I meet is younger, right? And the thing is that because people are so well researched, we have to be so much more transparent than we ever have been before. A little brief example would be someone that I was meeting with, and I said, "Tell me a little bit about your company." And they said, "Well, what do you already know?" And I thought, well, aren't you a little snarky today? I didn't say that, but I thought that. But then I stopped for a second, Stacy, and I realized, well, wait a minute. I'm asking somebody, tell me about your business, which sounds like a good question. And they're
Yeah,
saying back to me, they were much younger than me. Well, what do you already know? They were just kind of saying like, hey, like old man, like speed up here. Like there's this thing called the internet, right? And so transparency and being highly ethical, you would think, well, isn't that a no-brainer? And the answer
yeah,
is, I wish that it was. But
yeah,
so many times you're meeting with people, salespeople, whomever, marketing people, and you're just like, really, what is this? And so, what I've
yeah,
tried to do over the course of time is stop with a lot of the baloney. We'll just say baloney. And this
yeah,
whole rapport building that's fake, because one of the things that's changed out there is that most people don't mind buying, they just
right.
hate being sold. And so
Exactly.
I just try to simplify the process because most people want to really know 3 things. So,
Yeah.
everybody ready? Here we go. Here's the 3 things. How much is it?
Hmm.
Who else has done it? How much is it? I mean, it's actually pretty simple, and yet we try to make it
Yeah,
so complicated and give people
exactly.
deals and specials and all that stuff. And I think most people just want to know how much is it? Who else has done it? By the way, how much is it again? And if we
Yeah.
simplify the process, I just feel and find that we get further faster. People are just less tolerant today
Yeah.
of sort of the sales monkey business
Yeah.
than they've ever been before. But we probably shouldn't forget some old school stuff as well. But we just have to change for 2025. And people's brains
Yeah.
are kind of mushy right now anyway. So we have to be careful about that.
Oh, that's so true. And you know what? I always say too, you're talking about the Gen Z, area. A lot of them they talk differently and we were just brought up in different eras. That's all it is.
Correct.
But
Correct.
one thing I think people have to remember is the first 4 seconds you meet somebody, when you're introducing yourself into another salesperson or a client, potential client, that's when you really have to make the connection and the politeness and the respect goes a
Mhm.
long way in those first 4 sections because if you don't impress them, with your presentation of, who you are in those first 4 seconds,
Yep. Yeah.
It goes right down there.
People are super adverse to risk, especially during times of economic or political uncertainty. And that's all the deeper I'll get on politics on the show today. When
Yeah.
people's minds, when you wake up in the morning and you don't know exactly what to expect, you know, it makes it hard for you to plan and to create a plan because you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So I guess my thought is any plan's better than no plan, especially
Yeah.
during times of uncertainty. But you know what I've really found is the fastest way to connect is to name drop in a very ethical way to say,
Yeah.
hey, Stacey, you know, I've worked with Robert, I've worked with Rebecca, I've worked with Bob, and they've had some really great success. So I'm so excited to talk with you today. And then what
Mhm.
I say is, could I just cut to the chase as to why I wanted to meet with you? And you know what's
Yeah.
interesting, Stacey? Like nobody has said no. If you could build fake rapport with me, you know?
Yeah.
Instead, I think people just want you to be really transparent, get to the point. How much is it? Who else has done it? How's this going to
Yeah.
benefit me? But you know, really one of the bigger changes that if we want to talk about it a little bit, we can. It used to be build a relationship, then sell
Yeah.
somebody something.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 2025. It's like, let's go, let's go. Now it's like sell somebody something and then build a relationship for a lifetime. But that's a big change. It used to be you needed a relationship to sell.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I don't need to be your friend. I'll buy it from you. And for a lot
Yeah.
of people, that's tough because they're used to this fake rapport, ask 50 questions, that kind of thing. And it just
Yeah.
doesn't sit well with people today, in my
No,
opinion.
I agree with you 100%. It's completely different. And that's one of the reasons why some of the businesses don't do well is because they worked for them for so many years, for decades, and then all of a sudden now, in 2025, life isn't like that in the business world anymore. And people get
Right,
used to doing it because it worked for so long, and then all of a sudden they're wondering, why isn't it
right,
working? Why am I not making sales? It's because the world has changed and the people in it have changed. It's
right, right.
definitely.
And we complicate things that really don't need to be so complex. Think about
Yeah.
a good relationship or a good marriage. Some of the
Yeah.
things that are the simplest things that would actually save a marriage. Like for me, it took me till the age of like 40 to realize I just needed to shut up more. I just needed to listen more. I just needed to shut up, you know. And I've been married now going on 30 years. We got married real young. And I've been married 30 years. And people say all the time, what's the secret? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you kind of need to learn when to shut up.
Yeah.
Really? That's the secret? Yeah, shut up and buy more flowers. But you mean just but shut up, you know, and
That's what my
remember
husband
things that are
does.
important. Exactly. And so a lot of it is the refusal to pivot. And I'm not a big fan of the word pivot because I think it's kind of overused, but the inability for us to make a change in how
Yeah.
we're presenting ourselves in terms of pricing, in terms of the experiences. So I share with people all the time in sort of a sales advisement capacity, the experiences you create for people during the marketing process and the sales process, that directly impacts how they believe in you.
Yeah.
And if their belief in you is, oh, credibility, positivity, I like you, that's going to drive the action they're going to take. So the three-step
100%.
process that I talk about, whether it's on my app or on the podcast or YouTube or whatever, is create great experiences because it creates great belief. So when people believe in you, they buy from you.
Yeah.
People aren't going to buy from you if they don't believe in you. They're not going to buy from Stacey if
That's
they don't believe in Stacey. They're not going to buy from
right.
Ryan. People buy from people, and that's why I think AI, it's going to be tough for AI to replace salespeople. Will it help
Oh,
us?
100%.
Yes, but I met no one last week that was like, you know what I want? Some more AI. And so there's a lot of great AI out there, but for all your listeners that are kind of in business and trying to figure out what to do with their business,
Yeah.
I think AI can very much help your business be successful. But replacing
Yeah.
sales, I just don't see that occurring right now. But I think a lot of
I,
AI companies will revolt against that. But I think it's
I
still
think
people
you're
buy
right.
from people, Stacy. People buy
Yeah.
from people.
I really agree with you. And, I think also like how do we, like the question pops in my head,
Mhm.
how do we handle send me a deck without ghosting the relationship or the deal?
Sure. Normally, there has to be value related to the conversation. And most of the time that I see during sales outreach and marketing outreach is there's not enough value for the person to engage. So
Yeah.
people will pay more for things if they truly understand the value that they're receiving. An
Yes.
example of that would be like an Outback steakhouse versus a Ruth's Chris steakhouse. Now, I think
Right.
all of us could say there's better steaks even than Ruth's Chris. I get it. But Outback is a different value proposition than Ruth's Chris. It's just a different value proposition than Longhorn Steakhouse. But
Yeah.
also, there's also a completely different value proposition when you go to New York City and you're going to go to Gramercy Tavern or the Four Seasons to have a steak. It's a
Yeah.
different value proposition. And so the price is directly related to the quality of the product, but also the value that they feel during the
Yeah.
entire process. So
Right.
I feel like a lot of times people miss out on that value piece. So when
Yes.
someone says to me, to answer your question, hey, just send me the deck, just send me some information, I try to create a value hook. So the value hook is, and I'll sell you now. Stacey, I can send you the deck. The value in this conversation really comes from how much money I could save you or how much better direction I could give you with a quick 5 minute phone conversation. So
Yes.
I don't want to just, take over the conversation here, but I want to share with you that I find that most salespeople don't declare time. So you
Hmm.
have to figure that out. So if I just said, Stacey, hey, can we jump on a quick phone call? You're like, what does quick mean to you, bro? Could mean 15 minutes and I don't have it, right? So
Yeah.
instead, one of the first things I advise people on, declare time. How much time do you need? The second thing is stop trying to meet with everybody on Zoom because Zoom
Yeah.
requires preparation. This is
Yeah.
like, hello? It's super simple. And I know that's old school, but hey, it's very straightforward. Like if I had to get on a call with you, you're going to be a
Yeah.
professional. You're going to dress correctly. You're going to present yourself. And it takes time. So I'm like, could we jump on a quick 5 minute call? I can probably save you 5 grand. I can give you some really great ideas. I just need 5 minutes. And then be a person of your word and stick to it.
Yeah.
But I have a client 2 weeks ago that just started declaring time. They're up 40%. That's the only thing they did. Declare how much time they needed and say a quick phone call.
Hmm.
Now it is kind of funny though because my son, his voicemail says, "Don't leave me a message. Text me because I don't talk on the phone." So I guess that could be a second part of the problem. But he's 23, so watch out.
That's
But I
funny.
guess things are changing, and those little small tweaks make all the difference in the world in sales. Just those little teeny tiny tweaks. So I hope that's helpful.
Oh, it is helpful. Yeah. And personally, I like the phone calls. I like the interaction. I like hearing the person's voice. I even like Zoom, being able to talk to the
Yeah, I
person. You
agree.
feel like you're there. But when it comes to texting, I'm not a big fan of texting because I feel the message
Hmm.
could be lost. It could be misinterpreted.
Hmm.
That's what
Hmm.
we all text. We all text and going back and forth. But I think it's so much more productive if we could hear the voice or see the face. Like
Yes.
those two things I think are really important. And I agree 100% with what you're saying. It makes a big difference. And I like the phone calls too. I think the
Hmm.
phone calls are very productive. And I think, and you get your message across clear, the tonality of the voice, you know where the person's coming from, you know if they're sincere, what they mean, if they're excited, you're excited. It's something that I would encourage people to do. I
I
agree
agree.
100%.
Yeah, it
Now,
also leads to video in the sales process. Not enough
yeah,
people use video as a part of the sales process. So if I'm going to be texting somebody, what I'd rather do is record a quick video and send that
yeah,
to them because there's a higher level of engagement from it.
yes.
Now I'm
Hmm.
with you, and I don't think it's being in my 50s that makes it that I'm not a texting person. I think it's just a thing. I just feel like it's a deeper conversation, and texting is very informal.
Yeah,
However, I'm seeing a lot of business transacted on this dumb thing. And so
yeah,
I hate to be remiss and not say that I don't text. I do. I just
yeah,
would encourage people to consider video as a part of the sales process. So if
yeah,
you reach out to me and say, hey, Ryan, I want you to be a sales coach for me, I'm going to record a video back to you that says, hey, Stacey, I want you to know who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm all about. And I'm right now, I need some wood to knock on. Knock on wood.
yeah.
100% of the videos I've sent in the prospecting process have been watched because they don't think that people want to read an email, but they will watch a video. So imagine if
Yeah,
you received an email from me that said, "Hey Stacy, sent you a couple emails, and here I recorded you a quick video as to why I've been calling you." Boom,
yeah,
you watch the video because you're like, dude, I don't know you, but I'll watch the video. Like, who are you? And so
yeah,
I feel like video is a part of the process that could be, something pretty important to folks. A nice, easy little change using
yeah,
Loom or StreamSend or Vidyard or just your phone. I use
yeah,
Loom a lot, Loom. I don't know if you use that
yeah,
to
yeah.
record
Very good.
videos. That's helpful as well. So I think video is a part of the process that people will find a nice change there as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel it's very effective. I like when people do that, and I see more and more of it nowadays than ever before.
I do. And
And
some people do it wrong. But I feel like, because you can't really create a personalized video to somebody you don't know. So I think you
yeah,
just want to be pretty authentic. And you don't
hmm,
need to have a really pretty setup like Stacy and I have here with lights and all that stuff. But you do need to be make sure you're personally and professionally reflective of who you are when you're recording your
Exactly.
videos. Yeah.
100%. Now, when budgets are tight, how do
Mhm.
you package value so price isn't the only story?
So I really have to create FOMO, and I really have to make people feel like they're missing out because most people don't live in a vacuum. They live kind of
Yeah,
in the real world and they're kind of looking around. And so what I
right.
try to do is first, I'm not Walmart. Your listeners aren't Walmart. We're not racing to the bottom. So I
Yeah.
don't think during economic or political uncertainty or budgets being tight that it's always about the money piece
Yes.
because people find money for things they don't really need if they see there's value in it,
Yes.
right? You can
100%.
buy different, the example I give a lot is there's like 7,000 varieties of bed sheets. Little did I know that there was such a big variety until my wife sent me. I didn't understand the value that came from it until I bought a bad set of sheets.
Yeah.
And then you realize, wow, you're sleeping on sandpaper. This is not fun, nor is it comfortable. So the
Right.
value for me and how it's presented is done kind of in this regard. I
Yeah.
typically will name drop. I will explain that somebody has worked with us a long time. And then
Yeah.
I'll ask that client, where did you find value? And then I share the value from others to others. So, as a salesperson, you would expect people would believe you. You're a person of integrity and honesty. Unfortunately, SAP did a study. 89% of buyers would rather go to the dentist than meet with a salesperson. That's bonkers, right? Well,
That
when
is
you
bonkers.
so when you think about that in sales, what I advise and teach and speak on is I need to use the examples of others that I've sold to sell the next person over here because I'm just a salesperson. And so in the process, I'm notoriously known not to be trusted. Salespeople just are
Right.
notoriously not trusted. So what I'll
Yeah.
say is, this is company A, B, and C. We've worked with them and we love them and we love working with them. This is what they've
Yeah.
loved working with us. I think you will love that as well if you have a similar need, circumstance, or whatever. And so
Yeah.
I don't sell it based upon do you trust me?
Right.
Even my own services. I sell it based on what have others said about it. Now that can be testimonials, that can be videos. So a lot of times if I'm trying to sell you, I might send a video of another client saying how much they liked working with me. That
Right.
sells value faster than
Yes.
if I say it, if somebody else says it. The other thing
Right.
is materials, getting your materials really value driven. This is
Yeah.
5,000, 10,000, and 5,000, 20,000 in value that you get for 50% off. Or, well, that would be a lot. That seems a little weird. But that you save $1,000 by doing this. Remember,
Yeah.
a lot of times people do this wrong with lead magnets. They'll like this, you get $20,000 in value for $499. Is it really $20,000 in value? Because who sells that for $499? Tony Robbins
Exactly.
doesn't do that. I mean, so you've really got to be asking yourself, know what you're worth and knowing your worth. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times people go right to the discount during times of economic uncertainty
Yeah.
instead of going to the value piece and either putting more value on it
Yeah.
or explaining your value in a much clearer way. And sometimes I'd rather put more value on it than put a
Yeah.
discount on it.
Exactly.
I don't think discounts work unless you're in the retail business, which I know
Yeah.
is not necessarily where a lot of your listeners live.
Right.
And some people have completely long sales processes. Most of that can be cut up and shortened with a lot of videos. See, people should
Yeah.
be able to come to you as a salesperson with 80% of their questions answered. You're kind of like the
Right.
last stop. It's
Yeah.
not like the 80s where you had to talk to a salesperson to learn about a product. It's
Exactly.
just, we're living in a new world. So the internet should be able to solve most people's problems, but a lot of times it's not value based. And it just needs
Yeah.
to be what is your fundamental takeaway going to be from purchasing this product or service? How is this
Yeah.
going to change your life? And then make
Mhm.
sure it's realistic. A
Yes.
lot of times it's not realistic. You're going to
Exactly.
lose 100 pounds. Right. But probably you're going to have to go to the gym. Probably. And you probably should, as a matter of fact, go to the gym.
Exactly. Yeah. I
But a lot of
love
it
it.
too is the presentation is very often not very clear. And if you want to
Yeah.
see how value is presented, try to buy any type of software. They'll put three options on the screen. They
Yes.
list out everything and they show what the value piece is. And you'll
Yeah.
also notice when you try to buy software, you've seen this 100 times, Stacey, where they'll show options that are grayed out. Unless you upgrade, you don't get all of these things.
Yeah.
And so they do that at Planet Fitness. They do it when you buy cable services. because they
Yes.
want you to see here's the value. So if you move up to this next plan, here's all the other things you get. And look, it's only $25 more or, whatever the circumstance is. So
Exactly.
I think a lot of it is presentation, using your customers, using video
Mhm.
testimonials to sell the value,
Yeah.
believing in yourself and believing in the value that you bring, especially if you're a single practitioner, a
Yeah.
therapist. Some of these businesses you shouldn't be discounting, like buy one therapy session, get a second free. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. File one
Beware.
lawsuit, get a second lawsuit free. I just don't see these things working that
Yeah.
way. And I don't
Exactly.
see it from listening to your shows that that's kind of where your listeners and your viewers are at. I see these people being a lot more in circumstances where they do need to stay at a good price point because that's really what it's worth.
Exactly.
Know your worth. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I realize some of the younger folks today, they actually
Yeah.
do know their worth. Like they're not going to work for $7 an hour.
Exactly.
Some of them probably should, just to earn their stripes. They probably should.
We had to earn our stripes.
Oh my gosh, I'm not that old, and I remember making 15 grand a year. I mean, come on.
So true. Now, walk us through your one-page proposal and what absolutely must be on it.
Sure. So for me, I usually follow the Goldilocks principle, which we all know being my porridge is too hot, my porridge is too cold, my porridge is just right. Most people tend to do what others before them have done. During
Yes.
times of economic and political uncertainty, people's minds are very mushy. And when
Yeah.
people's minds are mushy, their risk tolerance is low, which means risk is very, very high. So when they
Yes.
first engage with a product or service or a human being or whatever, your risk wall is really tall. It's a very tall, tall wall. And
Yeah.
so the one page summary is the middle option is almost always what commonly people would buy. So
Yeah.
this is the middle option, the Goldilocks porridge, just right. This is the middle option. And you design that around that middle option around what the majority of people would buy. So
Right.
if I was advising you, and let's just say that you were selling some type of therapy services of some kind, what's the most common? Well, Ryan, the
Right.
most common thing is that people will book with me 4 times a month. Great, that's common. That's the middle option. You can do more, you can do less, but design the middle option based off the price point and deliverables that most people would buy. Then
Right.
you do one that's higher, show the value that you get for it. Then you do one that's lower and you
Yeah.
make it really vibrant of what they're missing. So make the
Exactly.
things in red that they're missing. So they pretty much we're going to buy that middle option. If they buy the top option, that's awesome. But the middle option is where pretty much they go. Now, a lot of people will say, yeah, but I customize my services. Okay, stop, because there is no empirical data that
Hmm.
customization is going to make you more money. As a matter of fact, it almost
Exactly.
always costs you more money. Talk to a custom home builder. They would much prefer to build a standard out of the box home than deal with your customization. So
Yeah.
for me, it's kind of a good, better, best. It could be a gold, silver, bronze, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. But that middle option is what's common. Give
Yeah.
people those something to compare it to so they feel better about it. And that's kind
Yes.
of how the one sheet looks. And people that complicate it, we'll just outsell them. The simpler it
Exactly.
is, the more likely it is that they would buy. The more transparent it shows what they get or don't get, the more likely
Yes.
it is going to buy. And if you're going to give a discount, give it off, just give it. Because a younger person is going to go, oh, so now that I refused, now you're offering me a discount? Why didn't you give me that discount before?
Right.
That's the mindset that some of us, me, some of us that are older have to kind of think about. And I just keep
Yeah.
saying older. I shouldn't probably pigeonhole myself like that. I'm 53. I'm not an old man. I just been doing this a long time and I've seen
Yeah.
so much of it change. What I did at Disney and ABC back in the day is just not the way that we're transacting business today. And I
Yeah.
see the theme parks, they're doing it differently now as they're dealing with,
Yeah.
well, millennials now have old kids and mortgages. So what are we talking about? Now we're dealing with the Gen Zs, right? The millennials are like everybody else now. They're not special at all.
It's so true. It's so true.
But that's kind of how I really lay it out because like I said in the very beginning, the simpler we can make it, the more likely it
Oh
is that
yeah.
someone's going to buy. And that's why
Yeah.
I don't like people that, and you may have some folks that listen or view that do this. I don't like people that say, hey, you have to apply to work with me. I know it sounds prestigious, but that's a stopper. Like, really? You want me to apply to work with you? I got to apply to give you money? Okay.
Hmm.
So I think we just have to think through things like that. And if people are
Yeah.
doing that and it's working, rock on. But if it's not and you're struggling, then I think you need to kind of think through
Exactly.
some of these ideas. But some of it though is marketing and not sales. Sales and marketing is just two different pieces that we
Mhm.
out, we have to figure out. We have to talk about.
Oh yeah, and I agree with you completely. And the one thing I had to learn, like when because yeah, I'm very close to you. I'm 52, so we're in the same age
There we
bracket. So,
go.
when I first started, because I was a book writer and because I wrote for lots of magazines and newspapers, detail was always implanted in my brain because that's how you write as a writer. But when I was selling something or I was marketing, I had to teach myself how to make it simplistic because
Right.
just think about like when you get an email, and if that email is long, you just like you go cross-eyed and right away click, you're off. Same thing. You got to make those one pages and make it nice and simple. People don't like
Correct.
complex and people don't like
Right.
a lot of words. It's like a turn off and it's like you'll lose the sale or that marketing piece will just go in the garbage, you
For
know?
sure. For sure. Hyler Hillman did a study. I don't remember what year it was, but it was a few years ago. Something like, and I don't have it in front of me, but it's like 16% of people actually read what you give them.
Yeah.
So the vast majority, 80 some percent of people don't read what you put in front of them. So one
Right.
of the things that I teach is 3 and 3, the format of 3 and 3. 3 words in the subject line, 3 sentences in the email. And
Yes.
all of our marketing for my events and conferences, my marketing team is like, oh, they hate me for that because they're like, we have so much more to share. I'm like, yeah, but
Yeah.
if you have to scroll to see it, it's
Yeah.
done. They're not doing that. And they're
Right.
like, oh, that's just young people. Like, no, it's people. People are
Yes.
tired of long messaging and they want
Yeah.
short messaging. And
Exactly.
now the marketing director over at Williams Sonoma was at a conference speaking. And it used to be like 40 impressions for people to kind of move the needle. Now it's 70
Yeah.
and 80 impressions. And
Wow.
so that's why I'm seeing a bunch of my clients start doing more traditional media
Yeah.
because they're just not getting what they need out of social media. They're finding that there's too much distraction, and
Yeah.
it's expensive now. It used to be cheap.
Yeah.
Now it's expensive. And
Yeah.
so I recently ran an ad in a meetings magazine to be a speaker at these meetings. I was amazed at the response that I got. One lady said to me, "Gosh, I've not really seen any speakers advertised in a magazine." I'm like, "Well, I'm just trying to be different because everybody's online."
Yeah.
And I mean, that was like a $5,000 gig for me to go and speak. And I think that I'm gonna kind of look more at traditional media. It's expensive, but see what's out there because I'm not getting as much from social as
Yeah.
I once did. I don't know, maybe you're seeing something different, but I'm just not
No,
getting as much from social as I once did.
I agree with you. I see the same thing. I don't really, social media is not something that I really focus on as much anymore. I put it out there, but it's when I interact with people and I do it in a more unique way, like you said, a magazine, and you get your targeted market. You put it in the right magazine, you have your audience, and most likely you'll make that $5,000 back easily because
Yeah.
you put yourself in an audience that's very easy to target. They need what you're offering and you most likely will get a better response.
Yeah, indeed. The marketing's really tricky these days because
Yeah.
a lot of your listeners, if they're using a lot of social media, is something that Google or whoever's not going to want us to talk about. But it used to be, and I'll be brief because we could talk an hour on this. It used to be that you would pay, say, $50, and you'd get between 1 and 50,000 people would see it. Well, now you
Hmm.
still pay $50, but you get about 50% less. And
Yep.
so there's been a bunch of lawsuits related to this because they're charging the same amount for less exposure, but they
Yeah.
always did that range. And
Yeah.
somebody smart was thinking about that in the beginning. So if you're
Hmm.
noticing you're not getting as much out of your marketing and sales efforts online, it could be because you're paying the same amount and you're just
Hmm.
not getting as much exposure because they've reduced the amount.
Yes.
So in 2018, in February 2018, Facebook removed like, I forget what it was, 70 some percent of the sponsored ads from their network.
Yeah.
Well, it ruined our exposure, Stacey's exposure, Ryan's exposure. So they want
Yeah.
us to pay more. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, are we not giving you guys enough? And now with
Mhm.
AI pushing all the results down the page, like
Yeah.
I'm on page 2 of SEO. I've never been on page 2 in my life. Who goes to page 2 of Google?
Not
Like,
many
has
people.
anybody, has everybody been to page 2? You got to go now, to page 2. So the good news is sales is changing. The good news
Yeah.
is marketing is changing. But the further good
Right.
news is we're seeing a bunch of good things out there that can help us be a lot
Hmm.
more efficient. But you can't be
Yes.
blind in your marketing. And I'm telling people right now, look at some traditional media options in your own
Yeah.
markets. Because local, like I live in Augusta, Georgia, our local TV market would love to have me come talk stuff on the stations. So if you're in a
Right.
local market, ask your TV stations in the morning shows. They need stuff to talk about.
Right.
because they only have so much they can talk about in the news before it gets too
Yeah.
negative, you know. But I love sales and I love marketing. But to your point, it's hard during these sort of economic climates and political
Yeah.
climates. No matter who you voted for, either side is angry. Nobody's happy right now. I'm happy, but nobody else is happy.
Now, with urgency without gimmicks, like how do you create a real deadline when buyers just can't wait?
Yeah, it's a super great question. And the way that it works out for me is that we have to create what I refer to as urgency levers. Urgency levers are things that we can pull as owners of companies,
Yes.
marketers, that we can pull to get people excited. So an urgency lever could be if you sign up for my program before the end of the year, it will save you $500. After the
Right.
first of the year, it goes up. That's an example. Or I say, if you're able to do this and this, I can give you another hour of my time. But that hour
Right.
is going to go away if you wait too long to sign the deal. So what I
Yeah.
try to do is a graduated scale of how things go away the longer somebody waits.
Hmm.
So if I gave them bonus coaching, for example, like buy 11 months, get the 12-month free. Well, that's if you sign up today. So the
Yes.
example that I give to folks is something that's probably happened to a lot of us. A closet designer from a national company came in to do a closet for us. Little did I know how much a closet would be. Oh my! I should get a free year of marriage for that on my list. So they said, okay, so today the price of doing this, just as an example, is 10 grand, but next week it's 15 grand. And then the
Hmm.
next week after that, it's 20. The further you wait, the more expensive it gets. And I say, why is that? And she said, I'll be very honest with you. Our workers are not busy next week. So if you
Hmm.
will book this and they can build this next week, you're going to get about 50% off. But as
Yes.
they get busier, it's going to get more expensive. Now, that could have
Hmm.
been a bunch of baloney. I believed it, and we signed that day for the 10
Yeah.
because I didn't want to pay the 20. Does that make
Yes.
sense? The other
Makes sense.
thing is to include testimonials in your total follow-up process. So what
Yes.
I try to do is every follow-up email that sends out, I have got a testimonial from a student, a client, or something like that, because we
Yes.
want people to feel like they're missing out. So it would be something like this. Stacy, I've got a client named Michael in Raleigh who his
Hmm.
sales are up 40% since we started working together. I'm very excited
Yes.
to get working with you. Please make sure you send that agreement back or click the link or whatever it is. So I try to make
Right.
sure that I weave into it, always weaving in testimonials. Now,
Yes.
here's the secret though. You don't need to ask someone necessarily for a testimonial because they're going to give you something you can't use. So
Yes.
let's just say that you were a client of mine, Stacy. I'd reach out to you and I'd say,
Hmm.
I'd write you a testimonial and I'd say, hey,
Right.
I know that we love each other. Yay, yay. Hugs, kisses, whatever. Could I say this? 90, 80% of the time, people say, sure. They don't, because I want to write the testimonial that I want to use.
Yes.
You follow me? And
Yep.
so I don't ask people for a testimonial to give you a paragraph of drivel you can't use. And you're appreciative of it, but you can't use it. So I write the testimonial to get the client to approve it. And I tell them
Yeah.
what I'm going to do with it. Hey, I'm going to mention this in my outreach. Is that cool? I've
Yeah.
never had someone say, no, you can't use my, and people are like, sure, absolutely. But that's what I do to try to get things moving forward. Urgency levers
Exactly.
and including testimonials. And the testimonial piece, I don't know why more people don't do it. It's
Yeah.
so important to have
It is
testimonials.
very,
I mean,
very
even if
important.
you're big time,
Mhm.
you need testimonials. But the other thing is, follow people maybe you don't like, but are they're successful. There's a few
Yeah.
of them out there that I don't like, but they're very successful. I follow them and I find out, okay, what are they doing? Because they're clearly
Yeah.
doing something right. People like it. And
Right.
so then sometimes you got to copy stuff to see
Yeah.
what's working. Or they say, isn't that the fondest form of flattery? Copying somebody or something like
Yeah,
that. It's
they got a strategy going on. Why are they successful? Why are they getting ranked high? Some of them, they have a great team of people working for them. But besides that, what type of strategy are they using? What are they using bold colors? Are they more clean? Are they using specific power words? What is their tactics that are really drawing people in? Besides maybe their celebrity status, but what are they doing besides that? Take away that and take a look at the marketing part, and it could give you great ideas that you might be able to apply to your own business, and you might see a change, a
Yeah,
big
for
change.
sure. For sure. I saw a pretty significant change in my coaching business when I did a free 30-minute consult. And so
Yeah.
when I meet people, I usually will say there's two things you can do to connect with me. One is you can download my sales app from the Google
Hmm.
Play or Apple Store. So you can get some sales coaching every day. And then the second thing
Yeah.
is you can set up a free 30-minute consult. And I
Right.
do that as a part of well, I guess I'm doing it right now and I didn't even mean to do that. It's a part of my total process because
Yeah.
I want, once somebody meets me, the chances of them connecting for coaching and paying if they can afford it is the way to go. But they have to meet you first. I have people all the time, Stacey, like, I'm not giving 30 minutes for free. Okay, well, it
Exactly.
works for me. You do you. But I know that I can bill out 300 grand doing it that way for one
Right.
business. So if I
Right.
can bill out 300 grand doing that way and you can do it somewhat similar, like rock on with your bad self, let's do
Exactly.
it. Let's figure it
Yeah.
out. And I get a lot of that from just watching other folks. But I truly believe that giving them something to download, giving them an opportunity to meet you in person.
Yes.
Like I have people that are like, well, you can meet with my assistant. Well, that's fine, but I'm not going to hire your assistant. I need to talk to you. And people value your time, but sometimes those free consults can really change the
Oh,
dynamic.
100%. Now, when it comes to follow-ups, follow-ups isn't needy. Like, what's your Canvas and like, how do you send?
Sure. So I try to follow up every 3 business days because the reason is it's 3 business days on a 5 day week. So
Right.
that means you're not going to be following up the same day over the course of 3 to 4 weeks. So every
Yes.
3 business days pops up in my CRM, send them a different
Yes.
subject line, a different email, and I avoid things like checking in with folks. I think that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, I think I even had it here from a coaching call this morning. We talked about this. Here were some subject lines from this morning. Next steps, question mark, update, your thoughts, any updates appreciated. All of those are good follow-up emails, but the
Yeah.
cadence is every 3 business days, unless on the sales call they told you, hey, follow up with me September 3rd or whatever, December the
Right.
5th. But I'm very big on teaching people that the no meeting is done until the next meeting is set.
I like
So
that.
don't conclude a meeting until you set the next meeting. But for me, I just try to follow up every 3 business days. You're doing to people what they would hope their salespeople would do, and that's
Yeah.
being politely persistent. Polite
Mm-hmm.
persistence produces positive profit. And if
Yes.
people just would follow that, there's nothing wrong with being persistent. Don't be annoying, but being persistent. I think what's annoying is the same email being resent to me over and over again
Yes.
instead of changing the subject line, changing the body of the email, keeping it short. I like to
Yeah.
say any updates appreciated. What's a
Mm-hmm.
good next step with you? Is there any
Yes.
questions that you have that I could answer? Just anything like that to keep yourself on the radar,
Yeah.
with them. And then whatever you can do to just name drop, name drop, name drop. I think the reason we don't do it is because our mom or our granny told us, or our auntie, don't name drop. People hate that. And I'm like, well, I think you probably, should, especially if I had Mario
Yeah.
Lopez on my website or something like that, a picture with Mario Lopez on my website or something like that. Then I'd really name drop. But it is all a part, though, in my opinion, Stacey, of having a process.
Yeah.
If you've got a good price, you've got a good product, you're the right people, then you probably need to
Yeah.
work on your process if
Yeah.
something's not working. So if you came to me and said, I'm struggling with my sales, I would look at it very specifically. What's your product?
Yeah.
What's your price? Are you the right person? And what's your
Right.
process? You know what?
Right.
Every time, it's the process. The
Yes.
process is off. I sent an
I agree.
email. Well, okay. One email's not going to do it.
Exactly.
One email's
Exactly.
not going to do it. But the sales process piece is super important. But the other thing that I'd love to share with you is that I also think that it's a mental game. Sales is a mental game. And if your head's not right,
Yeah.
you're going to be off. And I'm very pleased not pleased. That's the wrong word to use. I'm very open with folks that I have a business coach, I have a therapist. I think
Yeah.
it's important for
Oh,
men because I think
100%.
it's a little more common with women to talk to folks. I
Hmm.
encourage men all the time. You need a therapist. I meet men
Yeah.
all the time like, oh, you need to talk to somebody. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
talk to anybody. You need to talk to somebody
Yeah.
because you can be a better husband, boyfriend, partner, whatever. Sometimes you need to talk to somebody because being in the right mental space is so important. Having a great marriage, having a great sales
Yes.
life, raising
Oh,
good kids.
100%. Yes.
And you've got to figure it out. You know what's interesting? I never get asked. I love to talk about happiness and finding happiness. They always want to
Yeah.
know sales tips and tricks. And, I went for a very long time of not being happy. And I've
Yeah.
got money in the account. I can pay my bills
Right.
and I'm still not happy. And until I
Yeah.
started getting some help and people to realize your head's just messed up. And I think
Yeah.
people looked at me as being pretty normal, not needing
Right.
help. Ryan Dohrn wouldn't need any help. I did. And I'm a better person for it. That and 75% less alcohol consumed and getting to the gym.
Yeah.
It's all those things too, right? All
Magic
those
trick.
things that
Yeah.
sound like fun.
You know what? You are so right. We don't talk about it enough, but people don't realize that your mental capacity, your beliefs, your inner spiritual self. Everybody has that little spiritual self within them. If that isn't all aligned, that's why I love this podcast because we talk about mental health, physical health,
Mhm.
spiritual beliefs and how and spirituality, and then business. Because you know what? If those things aren't aligned in our life, how could you focus? How do you have clarity? And how could you actually close a business deal or even express what you're trying to get to the potential client to help them if your mind isn't all there, if
Right.
you're not feeling good because
Right.
maybe you're stressed, talk to me because I know you're really big on
Mm.
spirituality and how it affects, your business and your home life and everything
Yep.
around you.
Yep.
So, kind of broaden this
Wow,
topic a bit for
well,
me.
thank you so much for asking. It's so unbelievably important. I'll be brief. In Palm Springs, California, my head's hurting. I end up in the emergency room. I wake up and there's this beautiful face over my face, looking right down at me, bright lights. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I in heaven? And the emergency room doctor's like, no, but you died and we brought you back.
Oh,
And she
wow.
said, "Tell me what you do." And I told her, and she said, "You need to control your life." She said, "You are on a collision course for the end." She said,
Wow.
"You've had these headaches for 2 weeks. What'd you do to get them to go away?" And I said, "Crown and Coke." And she's like, "Well, yeah, that will make a headache go away, but that's not a good life
Yeah.
change here, bud, a life routine
Yeah.
for you." So,
Yeah.
by the way, Frank Sinatra had the same problem in the same hospital many, many years before. So I have
Oh,
something
really?
to,
Same hospital
yeah, I
too.
almost died with Frank Sinatra. There you go. So what I realized in this whole process is that if I didn't get control of my life, someone else was going to get control of it, and that was going to
Yeah.
be God.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
this is getting bad. So I
Yeah.
realized pretty quickly that I needed to talk to somebody about it. I needed to get organized. I just really wasn't
Yeah.
very organized. I need to get control of my calendar. And then here's the biggest thing, and we won't have time to talk about it today. I realized through therapy that I was addicted to being a people pleaser. I have a very bad addiction of being a people pleaser. And once I
Yes.
realized that it was an addiction that I had and that I could fix it and get it under control, my life has just been better. I think there's some people in my life that aren't as happy because I'm not doing
Yeah.
everything they want me to do, family
Mhm.
members, maybe even
Yep.
included.
Yeah.
But I realized that that was a real addiction. I realized I was
Yeah.
drinking way too much booze. I was not going to the gym and taking care of myself. And
Yeah.
now that I've done that, and I've got vitamins sitting here, and I mean, now that I've done this, I realized that it wasn't huge changes. It was subtle changes that had huge impacts. So here's what I look for. I think of happiness as a journey, not a destination. I
Yeah.
look for little moments of time of happiness that I can chain together towards bigger things. This
Yeah.
coffee was really good this morning. And I'm like,
Mhm.
thank you for that. This morning I wasn't feeling it. I opened the window and went, man, I'm standing up on both legs and walking this morning to the bathroom, and my friend Leslie is not. It's things like that that drive
Right.
me forward. And I hope that people that are listening or watching go, all right, so maybe I'm not alone because friends, I thought drinking like 4 to 6 glasses of wine a night was common. I thought everyone did that.
Yeah.
Little did I realize until my doctor said, "So you realize that just because you don't go to meetings doesn't mean that you're not an alcoholic."
Hmm.
And my wife and I sat and we realized this is going to be the change we are going to make together.
Yeah.
And 30 years we've been together, and is it all roses? No. But is it better more than it's bad? Absolutely. I just want to encourage everybody. You're not alone out there. Get some
Yeah.
help. Talk to somebody. Go to a website, whatever. Talk to somebody
Yeah.
about it. You're always going to be better off for it. And your business and your sales will improve as well.
Oh, so true. So true. First of all, gratitude is so important.
Hmm.
We sometimes focus on the negative, and we have to realize gratitude is huge, just like you just mentioned, and being honest with yourself. Honesty is key, positivity is key, talking to somebody is key, and really making those little tweaks in our life can be a really huge change for the better. And I think you put that perfectly. That
Oh,
is
thanks.
perfect. Now, before we leave,
Yeah.
I want to mention we have, Ryan, you promised five concrete actions. So, what are five things people can do this week to sell with integrity and win uncertainty?
Awesome. So the first would be highly relevant in all of your outreaches, would be the first one. The second one would be generic emails don't win business. Okay,
Hmm.
so stop the generic email and start being really, really specific. The
Yeah.
third thing is own your niche, niche your niche, own your niche, however you want to say it. Own that
Hmm.
niche and make sure you go really, really deep because people have a
Yeah.
tendency to try to be something to everybody. I don't
Yes.
necessarily know that that is important. Get
Yes.
extremely organized in all of your processes, whether it's a
Right.
CRM or whatever the circumstance is. And then recognize the last thing is most people give up when they're one phone call away from actually getting something done. And if you
Yes.
actually focus on those five things, friends, read the
Yeah.
transcript or listen to this over and over again. If you do that, I think you'll just be a raging sales success. And I'm also there with my app and all that kind of stuff to help all of you. Happy to do that. So feel free to look at ryandohrn.com for that app or go to the iTunes store or whatever. And daily motivation, I'm uploading. I uploaded a bunch of videos from Fripp Island when we were doing an adventure there. And so love for people to check out that app. We do it free of charge for everybody that's out there listening and watching your show.
I love it. Now, just tell us, briefly a little bit about the app so people know what it's about.
Yeah, sure. So what we're doing is a sales app. So you can search for the sales coach or Ryan Dohrn, Dohrn on your app. So every day we're uploading motivational tips. So you can start your day and go, hey, what's Ryan saying today about that? You get
Hmm.
14 of those weeks for free. And then if you want to upgrade, you can. You don't have to. And then there's also my podcast. My podcast is in the app as well. And then there's sales training within the app as well. So it's really about so people can continuously find motivation because in sales, one of the hardest parts is we just lack motivation. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't feel like doing it. So that's kind of
Right.
the nexus behind it that you can see my smiling face going, hey, today's going to be a great day, out there in
Yes.
sales land. But yeah, that's over at ryandohrn.com or in one of your, wherever your Google Play or on the App Store, or whatever you want to find it.
I love it. Now, tell us a little about your podcast.
Yeah, so we do right now, we're always focusing really on listener questions and viewer questions. So if people have questions, they can submit them in to me, and then we answer those on the podcast and give a little tip as well. And we had a couple of really big runs last week. We had a couple of those videos that would get over 600,000 views. We're really excited about
Nice.
that, which means to me that we're doing something right and that people are responding to it.
Exactly.
And like I said in the very beginning, I really feel like God or whoever you believe created you put me on this earth to really be helpful to people. And
Yes.
so far, so good. I think that we're making an impact on people's lives. And so that's why, 14 days of that app are at no charge to people because I want people to get a head start,
I love
on it.
it.
But there's blogs and podcasts. And hey, if you just listen to Stacey and Ryan, these two shows, friends, you'll be set. You'll
Yes,
be set.
I
but, uh,
agree.
but thank you so much for letting me talk about this. I sure appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. But I want to know a little bit
Yeah.
about your services. Tell us a
Okay.
little bit before we go. Tell everybody about the services you provide and also your books. I want people to know that you are a
Yeah.
book writer and that you have a couple of books that you offer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that opportunity. Usually it's like, okay, bye. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. So what I like to do more than anything, I'm happy to coach people one on one. But where I really see the bigger impact is when we're coaching and training teams. So I'd love to come into sales meetings and get teams motivated up. Normally your processes are in place. You don't need
Mhm.
somebody for processes. So I come into sales meetings, whether it's a small group or a big group, and we put together a day-long agenda for workshops. We have fun together. We talk about prospecting and selling and answering objections and all that kind of stuff. So love that kind of work. And then there's
Yeah.
one-on-one coaching that's available. So I do most of that myself. I do have some specialized people. If you're in real estate, we can put you in touch with real estate coaches and things like that. Because I tend to
Yeah.
be in more of a transactional sale business than automotive, real
Yes.
estate, insurance. I work with entrepreneurs,
Right.
more than anything else. So those are the big things that we do, and we do a lot of online classes that people can join in, as well. So yeah, sign up for the newsletter. Love to keep you informed. And there's just so many things we can do to potentially be helpful to together. The one of the things that we do a lot of though is sales assessments, where
Hmm.
if someone feels like maybe their team is struggling, like hey, where are we off? We do an
Yes.
assessment on the team members, and we come up with that as well. So I feel like there's a lot that we can offer to folks that might be struggling. But usually it's going to be groups that are going to be companies that have,
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 people and entrepreneurs. Because usually those big companies have their own trainers, in-house. But happy to be helpful.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been amazing, Ryan. I thank you so much for being on the
Oh,
show.
thank you.
Your wisdom is outstanding. You have a lot of wisdom in sales. in people, understanding people. And that's a huge thing too. Communication and understanding the person you're speaking to is big. Your knowledge today was outstanding. I really
Thanks.
thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your
Appreciate it.
wisdom, your tools, and your strategies. And I hope you'll be back soon because I really enjoy talking to you. And you
Yeah.
just have a great personality
Thanks.
and you
Thanks.
are just a wonderful person
Thanks.
overall. Thank
Well,
you
I
so
appreciate
much.
that. I appreciate it as well. And thank you for letting me get some little plugs at the end. That's awesome. I appreciate you so much for that. And we're going to have to trade spaces. So I'm going to have you on my show as well. We'll have a lot of fun
I
together.
would love that. I would
That's
love that.
great.
You have a great day, Ryan.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.